Hey team, welcome to episode 27 of the Golf Never Sleeps podcast. Ryan Roblard here. The holidays have just ended, and I think, like I said in the last episode, I've had a pretty chill holiday season. I've really tried to take my foot off the gas with some after a very busy year. But I also didn't want to skip a week of the podcast because the podcast drops every Tuesday. In the month of December, I was fortunate to spend some time being interviewed by a man by the name of Linden Crain on the Coffee with Crainer podcast. And we talked a little bit about my intro to golf and how I got into coaching and some of the different things that I've done. And I think, especially, this is episode 27 now. I haven't really done an episode since one of the very first ones of a little bit of a deep dive of who I am and how I've gotten into coaching. So that's where this episode is going to be. So this episode is my interview on the Coffee with Crainer podcast. It's a little bit of a deep dive about me and how I got involved in the coaching. We're going to jump right into the interview. I hope you have a fantastic listen today, and we'll see you next time at the end of this episode. Happy golfing.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Coffee with Crainer. Today I'm here with Ryan Roblard, a pro golf coach. A lot of exciting things we're going to talk about today. I am no golf expert, but we're going to be hyper focused on his career, how it all happened, and really mastering the swing, insights from a premier golf coach. A little background about Ryan. He was born and raised on a family farm in the town of Bell River or Lakeshore. Started playing golf, I believe, around the age of 16, maybe into your 20s. And today he is a PGA of Canada coach, 2023 PGA of Ontario Teacher of the Year, has over 400 hours, and I imagine this number is climbing, of professional development certifications, and to date has completed over 3,500 hours of teaching and coaching. So very, very busy man, loves the game, and we're going to talk about how it all started. But the first question is, do you drink coffee?
So I'm not a coffee drinker. I don't know if that means we have to end the interview and interview over. But I'm not a coffee drinker. My wife is a huge coffee drinker. So my coffee shop is based on like the treats that they sell. Yeah. So if I had to pick one, it would be Caffeine & Co. Okay. Caffeine & Co. Every time I've been there, the treats that they have for me specifically, not for my wife, has been fantastic.
Yeah, so you go for the treats, not the coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, the real question is like, how'd you become involved in golf? I know it wasn't super early on,
right?
Like 5 or 6. It was into your 20s.
Yeah, I started playing a little bit of golf just barely when 16, 17 years old. Grew up on a family farm, but I was a huge Tiger Woods fan. Not necessarily a big golfer myself, but a big Tiger Woods fan. So started playing golf a little bit. Wasn't very good. Never really took any structured lessons, anything like that, and played a couple of times a year. Yeah. Out of high school, I got into mold making. So I was a mold maker, which if you're from the Windsor, Essex area, you're familiar with that industry. The year 2008 happened, and obviously it definitely rocked our area in terms of unemployment and different things like that. And I was in my early 20s, and I knew that I wanted to make a career change because I looked at the people around me and said, it's not really who I want to be when I grow up. So I literally took a leap, took a complete 180, and I looked at golfers like Tiger Woods, and I was like, how do I get into that industry? And I looked at golf pros at golf courses, and I was like, man, I'd really like to wear like the nice golf clothes that they've got and trade in my coveralls and different things like that. So essentially at 24 years old, I enrolled in the golf management program at St. Clair College. And that's kind of where my path to golf started. I had no idea that I was going to be a golf coach, but at the time I was like, I want to be involved in the golf industry.
And it wasn't, were your eyes on, okay, I want to tour, or was it, I want to instruct?
I knew I was never going to make money as a player. That was very obvious very early on, but at the start I was like, I want to be a head pro, right? I want to be someone working in the pro shop, servicing customers and greeting guests and different things like that. And I enjoyed that. And I didn't really start teaching until I had been in the golf industry for a couple of years. And then I slowly started to enjoy it, watching people improve, helping them shoot lower scores, increase their enjoyment for the game. And I enjoyed that part of it. And as I kept doing it more and more, I started to enjoy it more and more. And there was a time that I guess the last role I had at a golf course was at Ambassador Golf Club in Windsor, where I was the head golf professional there. And as much as I enjoyed that side, like I always had the instruction side pulling me, where I enjoyed helping people with their golf game more than I enjoyed, let's say, managing a golf course.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the 2020 season, that's when I decided that I was going to resign from my position at Ambassador as a club pro and focus solely on teaching and coaching.
Now you're fully in it.
Now I'm fully in it. I'm a golf instructor day in and day out. I wake up in the morning and I'm thinking about the golf swing, and I go to bed and I'm thinking about the golf swing.
Do you love it?
I do. I really enjoy it. And I spend a lot of time working with high-level players, high-level juniors and high school players trying to get to college, and college players trying to get to the pro ranks. But I also thoroughly enjoy working with the average golfer as well. And I feel that whether I'm trying to help someone break 70 for the first time, or whether I'm trying to help someone break 100 for the first time, seeing their enjoyment for the game and watching them hit good golf shots and watching them understand that they're making progress is quite fulfilling. I enjoy it quite a bit.
And what does an average day in the life of Ryan look like? Are you on the course at like 5, 6 a.m.?
So an average day for me, I'm actually fairly regimented in what time I wake up. My alarm goes off at 6:20 every single day. I'm in the basement getting a workout in at 7 a.m. every day till roughly 8:30, let's say. And my day will normally start at 9 o'clock. I'm very active on social. So every day, kind of first part of the day, is I'm just trying to sort out what am I doing content-wise for the day, structuring that out, take care of some emails. I also help out, do some operations for a training aid company called Super Speed Golf. It's training aid that helps people swing the golf club faster, hit the golf ball further. So I have their commitments as well. And then kind of normally once we get into the afternoon, that's when I'll kind of switch on into coaching mode. And usually in person is kind of that, let's say 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. kind of on weekdays type thing. That's kind of when most of my lessons will take place. And then normally on Saturday mornings, I'm coaching as well. Sundays are a pretty off day for me. Sundays when I play golf and try not to teach any lessons. So
it's a family day, I imagine, as well, right?
That's exactly it. It's golf early, get home, spend time with my wife, and then usually Sunday is dinner at mom's house as well. So
okay, that's similar to me.
Yeah, perfect.
No, you said you started this full time 2020.
Yeah.
Have there been any challenges since then?
If there, I should find some wood to knock on, because fortunately so far there hasn't been that many challenges. The biggest challenge has been as I continue to add things to my plate. I coach golf. I have commitments to Super Speed Golf. I have a weekly podcast. I have a newsletter that I put out every week. I teach online lessons. Like as I continue to add things to my plate, the biggest challenge I've had is just trying to sort what's the best use of my time and what's going to bring me the most value in the long run. Fortunately, I guess if you go back to 2020, we were somewhat of a way through COVID or part way through COVID, I guess.
And golf went up a ton during the pandemic.
Like golf exploded. Demand for golf exploded. Demand for golf instruction exploded. I don't believe that there's enough golf coaches in Windsor, Essex for the demand that we have for golf instruction. So I think most of us who do teach golf are fairly fortunate, where I think a lot of us can say that our plates are as full as they can be. So since 2020, fortunately, again, fingers crossed, knock on wood, I haven't had that many challenges other than trying to sort through as I want to keep scaling my business, as I want to try to find that combination where my wife and I are expecting a child very soon, and just trying to find that balance on how can I make sure that I can like maximize the time that I have to generate value, but also spend time with my new family or with my very young son.
Yes. Yeah. Work-life balance is so important.
Yeah.
What does scaling look like to you? You mentioned that a little bit.
So scaling, I think for me can look a couple of ways. I've been thinking roughly for maybe 12 to 18 months about what it would look like if I had another coach come and work underneath me. That would allow me to do more in a group setting, but would also allow me to be able to hand some people off when I turn people away. Unfortunately, I turn a ton of people away. But if I had someone under my umbrella that I could bring in and maybe guide to teach similar to the way that I teach. I would have a way to just have more people taking lessons from, let's say, under my umbrella.
Yeah.
But a huge opportunity, honestly, is what can be done online, right? Online lessons. I can teach a player from anywhere. I have a student that lives in St. Louis that I checked in this morning at 6:45, right? Where they had sent me videos from a previous driving range session, and I sent them some feedback this morning when I was in my basement.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
That's really cool.
Being able to scale in that regard will allow me to teach anybody anywhere and get out of just working with people in Essex County. There's people that might see my stuff online that they like the way I talk, or they like my language or the way that I deliver things. And now if they have a smartphone, I can help them improve.
Hey, I just have a quick favor to ask, and then we'll get you back to the episode. Wherever you're watching or listening to this right now, can you please make sure that you're following me or subscribing to make sure that you get the most recent episodes when they come out? If you can leave me a review as well, I would really appreciate it. The support that you give me in terms of following me or leaving me a review helps this podcast grow and also keeps me motivated to put out more content. So thanks again for listening. Let's get you back to the episode.
So, and even depending where people are, some people live in areas where either the cost of their instruction or coaches there's way too expensive, or they just don't have access to a golf coach because they live in a small town, but they found me on Instagram. So scaling in a way where I want to try to help as many people as I can. I think that there is a in-person path, which would be adding another instructor, but then there's more of an online path where I think I could get more things done in, let's say, the off hours, whether it be early in the morning or late at night, or when it's raining or different things like that, where I can't facilitate someone in person, but I can take care of someone online.
And similar to our business, we can underwrite a loan for residential or commercial properties virtually through an online portal, and really skip that in-person session, which for most people now, because they're working so much, it's tough to take time out of their schedule, take time off work, meet during the day, and have that one-on-one session.
Yeah, and I think even the drive time, right? Like a 1 hour lesson for that person becomes 2 hours because they have some commute back and forth.
Yeah.
There's a gentleman that I worked with last winter who lived in New York, where he's like, if we can meet at 7:30 FaceTime every Friday for 30 minutes, I'm in. Because for him, that was a time in his calendar where he could be in his garage and get it done. And he goes, like, I'm a member at a golf course that has instructors, but around their schedule, I can't get there for a lesson.
Yeah.
And I kind of looked and I was like, man, that's nuts. That club has 4 instructors that's not getting their business because they can't meet with her. They don't meet with him virtually at 7:30 in his basement. So yeah, there's the ability to scale on that online front, regardless what industry you're in. I don't want to say it's endless, but there's a lot of potential.
And let's dive into that further. Social media is becoming a big part of your business. Has it helped you grow?
Yeah. It's the reach has been pretty wild. I guess the story behind that is I attended a conference in January this year, and they had a speaker that was up there just talking about kind of his path, and he had grown quite a big following, and the thing that he says, like, you have to feed the machine, is essentially what he said. And the thing that he said, he goes, if you commit to feeding the machine, you'll find out very quickly if people like your stuff or not. Because if you get no interaction, if you gain no followers, if you get no reach, it'll be quite clear. And I got back from that conference and I decided on February 1st of this year, I said, like, I'm going to post every single day for a year. I said, I'm just going to see what happens. At the end of a year, if I have no reach, if I have no new followers, it's clear that people do not like my message, which might tell me something about the way that I deliver my message. On February 1st, I had 2,000 followers on Instagram and nothing anywhere else. And now I'm over 20,000 followers on Instagram, and my videos across platforms this year have reached over 8 million people. Wow. That has shot my online business. That's shot off my online business. It's gotten a ton of people locally reaching out, asking for lessons as well.
That's how I saw you.
Yeah.
Like this interview would be happening if it didn't across your social media.
Yeah.
To be honest, right?
Yeah. And so to your question, have I had any bumps in the road? Fortunately, that was one where like COVID made golf very popular. And then I was just like, I'm just going to share clips of my lessons and things that I believe to be true. And we're just going to see what happens. I think if you ask anyone who knows me well enough, I'm not that shy in front of a camera. I usually don't have an issue communicating. So I said, I'm just going to try. And now it's gotten to the point where like people are asking about online lessons. You offer online courses and different things like that. So I want to say it's really opened my eyes to what's possible outside of just my local area. And now has really got my wheels turning on how can I scale this from an online front, while actually at the same time though enjoying posting that content, because I feel the content that I post keeps me honest on like when I'm recording content, I'm being top of mind. Is this going to resonate with anybody? Like, are people going to understand what I'm saying? A lot of people think it's definitely easier to teach someone a skill in person. But if you can communicate that skill to someone who's not directly in front of you and they're watching it days later, weeks later, but they can understand the message that you're sending, I think that shows that you have that ability to communicate or to translate something to someone who may be struggling with a particular part of the golf swing. And I say this a lot to myself. I think the stuff I've put out online helps me in my in-person lessons as well.
I completely wholeheartedly agree with you. In my business, if I'm sharing some type of information about mortgages, I'm at the same time I'm educating myself and reminding myself. And then when I go into an in-person meeting with the client, it's just a good refresher.
Yeah. And I think especially when you're producing something online or when you're trying to say something to someone who's not in front of you, you have to assume that they go into that having no idea what you're talking about and having no idea what you're trying to convey.
Yeah.
So you're thinking, all right, how do I get this across in a way that anybody can understand? And I guess so far it seems like I've done a pretty good job of that because I continue to gain traction and reach. And
I got lost in your
things.
videos the other day. I'm not a good golfer at all,
right.
But I was watching the videos and I'm like, hey, this a little adjustment here. Like it makes it seem like it makes learning easier because you watch it and you're like, okay, it's something you can physically get up and try as you're watching the video.
Yeah.
It just provides value. It's content that provides value.
Yeah. And I'm sure obviously educating people maybe about shooting lower scores might be a little bit different than let's say educating people about mortgages in terms of online. Cause I think
yours is more engaging.
Yeah. Like I have an unfair advantage there.
Yeah.
But especially when it comes to the golf swing, there are so many potential problems that a player could have. And I'm producing content knowing that 95% of the people that might not apply to them. But to that 5% of people, they're like, wow, I've really been struggling with the way I use my hips in the backswing. And this is exactly what he's talking about. I want to learn more about what he has to say.
Yeah.
And for that other 95%, there's going to be a day where something that I put out is I've been really meaning to pay attention to my grip. And this tip is going to tell me exactly what I need to do to pay attention to my grip.
Yeah. They do it. They correct it. And they're like, okay, this Ryan guy.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Well, the thing we say, like the thing a lot of people say in golf is like, you just need to hit one good shot during a round of golf to get you coming back for more. And if I provide a tip that someone tries in a range session the next day and they hit one good shot, they're like, oh, wow, this guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Whether it's actually true or not.
And it's something little too. Like when Dylan, who's in our office, was coaching me on the course. Like it's just little tweaks to your posture, your swing, and it finally goes straight.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
and that light bulb moment, regardless if you're a very high level player or a beginner, as a coach, watching a player like that light bulb go off is such a cool moment.
And what's it like playing with, like, do you golf alone or with friends when you go on Sundays?
No, Sundays I got a crew. I'm a member at Kingsville Golf and Country Club, and there's a crew of us out there. There's always a group.
Do they enjoy it? Like, is it tough to stop yourself from saying like, "Hey Joe, like you gotta tweak that"? 'Cause
Honest,
you're always in instructor mode mentally.
I
right?
am, but when it comes to that Sunday round, we never talk golf instruction with those guys.
Yeah.
And those are guys that I've known several of them for many years. There's a couple of them I don't know that well, or I didn't know that well. But honestly, when I'm out there, I know the last thing that they want from me, especially because it's their Sunday morning, is to talk golf swing all the way around.
Yeah.
So like on Sundays, I'm out there working on my own game, right? Where like I'm coaching myself and trying to work on what I'm trying to work on. Sometimes it'll spill in, we'll have some conversations, but honestly, the thing that I like is Sunday mornings, I go to the golf course and I'm just Mr. Member for the 7:37 tee time. And because I don't coach at Kingsville, like I'm just a member there. I do not work out of there in any way, shape, or form.
Yep.
I just get to go be a member and go enjoy the game that I try to help people enjoy.
Absolutely. My final question for you: if somebody wants to go into golf management, they want to become an instructor, they want to do exactly what you're doing, how do they get there? What would be your advice to them?
Well, depending how long this answer is allowed to be, the only reason I feel I've gotten to where I am, or maybe to where I'm going, has been the amount of learning I've done from others. The amount of conferences that I've attended, the amount of research that I've done trying to learn from others, all what I am is just an accumulation of things I've learned from other people. And the thing that I've noticed is if I look at other people in the industry that I'm in, the people that seem to be the least successful and the least happy with their roles are the ones that just punch in and punch out and never get out of their comfort zone and never try to further their education. Where it's funny, I was just at a conference in Ottawa a few weeks ago, and the group of us that were there, we had kind of made a joke where it's like, man, it's just us at all these conferences. Like the conference goes across the country. But it's always kind of that same core group of people. And someone had made the comment where they're like, but if you look, we're the group of people that feel like we're doing the best in our industry. So I think anyone who has to, or anyone that wants to get into it, you have to educate yourself. And I came across this quote yesterday, and I feel lately I've been living by it. I'd much rather try something and know if it works or not than not try anything and wonder if it would have.
Ryan Robillard.
Yeah.
2023?
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. You have to be a sponge, right?
Yeah.
And for you, who was your sponge? Was it the course that you were pursuing at St. Clair? Was there a great golfer in your life? Was it Tiger Woods you'd watch?
So Tiger Woods drew me to the game of golf. Like I thought, obviously watching Tiger win as triumphant as he was very good. I normally don't mention a lot of names, but I do have to give a shout out to Kevin Corvo, who's at St. Clair College. He was my program coordinator, and he was the one that convinced me to get into golf management.
Wow.
And if I'd never taken that program, I'm not here. I'm probably still wearing coveralls and steel toe boots. And I looked at him as kind of the model of the job that he had, the way that he dressed, the way that he talked, all those things. I'm like, I wanted to be like that. When it comes specifically to mentors, I don't have a couple. I have like hundreds, to podcasts I've listened to books that I've read. There's people that I've heard listen to for an hour that I would consider a mentor, because what I took away from that 1 hour conversation reshaped the way that I did something completely. So
yeah, listen to a lot of podcasts would be your advice, and read a lot and
you
educate yourself.
You've got to educate yourself, because especially if you want to be a high performer, there's very few high performers that don't educate themselves, right? If you want to be in the 50th percentile, that's pretty easy to do. You don't have to be exceptional to do that. But if you want to be exceptional in what you're trying to do, you have to do exceptional things and learn from exceptional people.
You know, I listened to a podcast on the drive-in, David Goggins.
Sure.
Most people.
Yeah.
But it was just his story. He talked about, being mediocre or excelling, right? And you want to take that next step in your life. But yeah, completely agree with you. Like education is key. And I'm glad you had people that you knew personally, but also people that you considered mentors that you just listen to. They might not, they don't know you. They don't know that Ryan's listening.
Right.
But to you, they're still mentors.
Yeah. And last little story, I'd went to a conference once in Toronto. I listened to this coach. His name's Martin Chuck. He's a Canadian, but he lives in Arizona. And he had said, like, if you ever have any questions, please reach out. And every presenter says that. And he said, he goes, I know none of you are going to, but you can reach out.
Yeah.
So afterwards, I reached out. I said, hey, Martin, like, I'd love to have a call. I want to learn about, because he had talked about mentors in his talk. He's like, sure, we'll get on a call. And I think one day we had a call, and it was like he's driving to work. And he's like, you don't need one mentor, because he's like, when I was growing up, there was no phone, there was no internet. He's like, I needed a one-on-one person. He's like, you could have, I think he says, like, you could have 1 million mentors. Mm-hmm. And that was early on for me in teaching. And the light kind of switched where I was like, yeah, why don't I just try to learn from everybody or at least try to consume as much as I can. If I don't like the way that message sounds, that's fine. I'll find someone else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Like, if you are just learning from one person, I guess you're turning away some other knowledge from other people, and just getting it from all different angles is what helps you become more rounded. Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know. And I think oftentimes people will just get set in their ways and they think they know what they know, or they're experts at what they know, but there's just so many other opportunities out there in basically any field to learn from others, and maybe even try to pay attention to people you maybe don't necessarily agree with. Because if they're successful as well, there's a reason why they're successful, and there's probably an opportunity there.
Absolutely. But I think it was the perfect way to end out this episode. We didn't talk much about the techniques or golf things. I told you before, I really, like, I'll play once in a while on the course with work or buddies, but I'm no golf expert. But I think just the leadership behind it, how you got started, what you're absorbing as a fairly new business owner. It's really inspiring to see it. I think it provides a lot of value to people that are in golf or any industry. So, Brian, thank you for your time. And
thank you. Nice one.
Pleasure having you on.
Yeah, appreciate it.
If you missed this episode, visit coffeewithcrainer.com. You can watch all the podcasts back and forth as long as you'd like. And we hope to see you very soon. Take care.